6 investigates. The next time you go car shopping, buyer beware. That used car lot could actually be an illegal operation.
Yeah, it's difficult to crack down on these pop-up businesses because from the road, they really look like the real deal. Rafael Sanchez joins us live as Call 6 Investigates digs into the lot that shut down after we started asking some questions. Rafael.
Todd and Erica, good evening. We learned about these used cars after getting a tip about something happening on the corner, and someone asked us to check it out, and we did. And when we did that, the seller was telling us that most of the vehicles on the lot, that they were in good condition. Now, of course, our cameras were rolling, our hidden cameras were on the job. But you know what happened, Todd and Erica? When we went from just being the regular old customer, stories changed when that person found out that we were Call 6 Investigates. By all signs, there was no reason to doubt. This was a used car lot.
I was driving by and I swung around. I saw the car for sale.
The price caught your attention?
Yep.
You were hoping to get a deal?
Yes.
For several weeks, Call 6 Investigates watched several people selling cars here at 38th and High School Road. We found lots of vehicles, all makes and models. Jesus Lavalle showed us around.
It's nice. It's nice. It's low mileage.
There wasn't always someone on the lot. We had to call one of the many phone numbers on display to get information.
Engine? Can we see the engine?
Oh, yeah.
On this day, the prices ranged from $900 to just $4,000.
It's like new.
It's like new?
Yeah, like new.
But when we turned the tables on him, do you have a license to sell cars? Do you have a license? Is this a car dealership?
Oh, no.
Jesus claimed he was getting a license. We questioned the conditions of the vehicles for sale. Engine problems, transmission problems, brake problems? A little bit? Yeah. In cooperation with Carfax.com, we checked all the vehicle identification numbers. Carfax verified several safety concerns. The Grand Prix and Ford Explorer are in need of critical recalled replacement parts.
You have a Honda?
Yeah, can I see that one?
And remember that like-new Honda Accord?
Oh, it's new. It's like new.
It was previously totaled in an accident. It was issued a salvage title, making it undrivable. It was later repaired and made roadworthy with a rebuilt title. This kind of operation is known as curbstoning. That's when people sell vehicles along the curb of any open space.
Curbstoners will sometimes buy cars for cheap that may have been wrecked or otherwise damaged, clean them up a little bit, and then a consumer buys it for more than the car's really worth.
The state's Auto Dealer Services says these businesses try to stay under the radar by selling less than 12 vehicles a year. 12 or more sales requires a license. Jesus told us he's only sold one minivan this year. He added that he and his partner are seeking a dealer's license. Call 6 checked and found no records of any applications with their names being processed. Is this a good business?
No más. Quiero quit.
He didn't think so. So here are the things you have to keep in mind when you're dealing with curbstoners. There are a couple of things you may want to keep in mind. The number one thing, check this out. You may not get your title, which means after you've paid possibly in cash, that car may not belong to you. The other big issue is one of accountability. Who will you go to when that car breaks down? Most of these curbstoners are nomadic. And one more thing to consider, if you'll join me right to the back seat of this vehicle, of course, is the audit. Unlike licensed dealers, these nomadic operations, these curbstoners, they cannot be audited by state regulators, which means if you file a complaint, there is no way for state regulators to come back to that operation and hold someone accountable to possibly fix your car or even maybe give you your money back. Todd and Erica?
So, Ralph, what is the status of that lot, and what about the owner you were talking to?
Well, the state is now looking into that operation, and of course the lot for now has shut down, but possibly could now be operating, as you will tell viewers here in a second. They could be operating either on social media, either Facebook or Craigslist. Todd?
Judge Graves, I'm Kara with Channel 6. We want to talk to you about charging people for weddings.
Tonight, a Call 6 hidden camera investigation exposes a Marion County judge breaking the very rules he helped create.
Our Kara Kinney is now holding that judge accountable and even getting newlyweds their money back. She joins us now with the full investigation. Kara.
That's right, Todd. We exposed Center Township Small Claims Court Judge Michelle Scott using government resources to promote the private wedding business she ran with her husband. Well, she resigned last year, and in response, the courts passed new rules on weddings in an effort to protect your taxpayer resources and the integrity of small claims courts. Well, those rules went into effect January 1st, but we got a tip at least one judge was not following the rules.
After 15 years together, Hosea and LaToya Hunter finally decided to get married. They wanted something small, simple, and cheap, so they headed to their township small claims court.
The church and the big wedding thing, really didn't have the money for it.
The new rules effective January 1st say small claims courts cannot charge for weddings performed on court premises and on court hours. The Call 6 investigators took hidden cameras into all 9 of the Marion County small claims courts.
Looking for some information on getting married.
To see if they were following the new rules.
And is there like fees associated with that? Not anymore. Okay.
8 of the 9 township courts either don't charge or the judges just don't do weddings at all.
That's a fallout of some of the stuff that happened in Center Township.
But one township did try to charge us for a wedding, Warren Township on Indy's east side.
It's an $80 ceremony fee.
We went back again to make sure we heard that right.
$80 ceremony. $80. Okay. We accept cash, money order, credit cards.
The Hunters paid that fee. Judge Gerald Graves performed the ceremony.
I thought, $80 was a lot. I thought it would have been maybe a little cheaper.
But they shouldn't be charging at all. The Indiana Association of Wedding Officiants helped pass the rules.
I'm very surprised because especially with how public, everything with Judge Scott was, with your investigation, you would think that judges and their staffs and stuff would know how to follow the rules.
In fact, Judge Graves and other small claims court judges gave their input into the wedding rule-making process. Our initial requests to interview Graves were ignored, so we showed up in court.
We want to talk to you about charging people for weddings. Can you answer a couple questions real quick?
Or not.
Well, you're an elected official, sir. I think it's appropriate that you respond. If somebody's in your court and says, hey, I didn't know the rules, would you find that an appropriate response?
A week later, Graves agreed to sit down with us.
Why were you guys charging for weddings?
Well, I was aware of the rule as proposed, but I was unaware that the rule had been passed.
How did you not know about a rule when you were involved in the process of creating those rules?
It's been a lot of rules changes since 2012.
Judge Graves points out several sources he uses to look up rules had old information on weddings. The Supreme Court website, however, did have the correct information.
Some might say it's your duty to know what the rules are.
Yeah, and I admit that that the rule that as proposed and as passed was not being followed. It was inadvertent. It was not intentional.
The money charged went into the township fund, and in response to our findings, Warren Township refunded $400 to couples who wrongly paid for weddings, like the Hunters.
We really needed it, so, it's great. It's surprising and it's wonderful.
And the wedding rules also say if a couple asks about a paid wedding, the court staff cannot recommend any particular officiant. But we found the Wayne Township Court handing out these flyers advertising the judge's weekend wedding business for a $125 fee for outside of court. The judge says they've now stopped handing these flyers out, and he has not performed any weddings.
So, Kara, all very interesting. What did the Hunters do with the money you got back for them?
They say they paid their internet bill, they got a $5 pizza and a movie, and they say they actually spent a few dollars giving it to a homeless person. So $80, it's a lot of money to a lot of people. So we were really happy that we could get that money back for those newlyweds.
Very nice.
Great report. Thank you, Kara.
Following breaking news, this incredible video you'll only see on RTV6. It comes from a standoff on the city's east side, just north of Interstate 70. That standoff just ended, and RTV6 was there. A man barricaded himself inside a home and set it on fire. Let's get the latest from RTV6's Julie Pursley. Julie.
Metro Police are putting together the pieces of what happened here in the 2500 block of Lehman. They say an ex-boyfriend went into a woman's house, stole her keys, took her car, and then crashed into that pole pole, you see, only half of it's there. It's dangling. Then she called police, and when they got here, there's a chair behind those firefighters. They say the man was sitting in that chair holding a knife. Now, take a look at this exclusive video that we got. Photographer Glenn Welling and I were here as this was happening. The man came out onto the roof, and he was talking to the police officers. He had a knife in his hand. They were trying to talk him into coming down. He went back into the house after they fired rubber bullets hitting him. When he went back into the home, all of a sudden we saw smoke and flames coming from that house. They repeatedly tried to talk him out of the burning home. He eventually came out and was dancing on the roof. As you could see, flames shooting from the house. A detective was here on the ground along with other officers and firefighters trying to talk him down. They eventually had officers get on the aerial ladder, and then they went up with a taser. They hit him with a taser. He went down, and that is when they were able to take him into custody. Now, again, Metro police officers are still piecing all of this together, and our own Jack Reinhardt just spoke to the ex-girlfriend. We will hear more from her coming up tonight on RTV6 at 4, 5, and 6. Now, what one of the officers here at the scene was able to tell Jack Reinhardt is that this man is known to have anger issues. But again, Metro police and firefighters put their lives on the line today, but they were able to get this man out of here by firing rubber bullets and then tasing him. He was taken away on a gurney, and Jack Reinhardt said as he went past him, because we were on this end and Jack was down here, he said the man had a smile on his face. We'll continue to follow this developing story throughout the day.
Tonight, it's May, and it's time. After a thrilling finish to last year's Indy 500, who will be next to fill victory lane? It'll be Tony Kanaan, one-time winner, hoping to take his two sons to racing's pinnacle. Or as talk show host David Letterman approaches retirement, with a win for Graham Rahal and his race team be the ultimate encore. The curtain goes up on Trackside 6.
Live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this is Trackside 6.
The second Angie's List Grand Prix of Indianapolis comes up Saturday. Practice today. Three-time Indy 500 champ Helio Castroneves celebrating a milestone, his 300th IndyCar start on Saturday. Hence the adding double zeros to number 3 in practice on that car. Leader lights for the cars for the Indy 500. They were tested again. Great way for fans to figure out the position of the cars. Maybe we'll see that on race day for the 500. All told, pretty clean practice today. Quick 6 from today. The second session, and all Chevy top 6 led by Scott Dixon. Another practice session tomorrow, qualifying at 3. The race Saturday at 3:30, by the way, live here on RTV6 at ABC. Welcome back live to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and this first Trackside 6 special of the month of May. Well, a lot has happened to Tony Kanaan over the last couple of years. 2013, he wins the Indy 500. Last year, he gets married. This year, they added a little deco to the family. Tonight, we go kidding around with the Kanaans. For over 20 years, Tony Kanaan has spent life in the fast lane, his home away from home. But these days, when he drives back home, it's a different story.
Hey, Tony, it's me. Dave, open up, man.
No, these housekeeper from Colombia owners are not home.
You're not a Montoya. I know that. I can tell it's you. Kanaan, open up the door, man.
Yeah, Montoya. Good driver, Montoya, Colombian.
No, Montoya hasn't won anything in like 10 years.
Open up the door. All right.
I knew it's not a Montoya. Tony Kanaan, everybody. I brought some gifts, by the way. We have diapers, we have wipes, and we have a pacifier.
But that's for who?
For you.
I'm going to pick the green car one, and I'll give Deco the lion.
Come on in.
It's a full house these days with the arrival of 4-month-old Deco Kanaan.
He dressed up for Dave today, huh?
Joining his brother, 7-year-old Leonardo, and Tony's wife, Lauren, an Indianapolis native who really runs the show, despite living with 3 boys in the house.
She's totally, completely outnumbered, and here you go.
Is that funny? Everyone thinks this is funny.
The name Deco, by the way, chosen so that both the American and Brazilian grandparents will be able to correctly pronounce the name. But as for who he looks like, it's Tony, right?
Everybody says him. He's the only person that doesn't.
Who does he look like? Me?
Yeah.
The nose.
The nose.
The hair.
See?
It's all in good fun for the Indy 500 family. Family has always mattered to Tony Kanaan, especially in Brazil. It was Tony's father who was there when he started karting. Tough love was the way to describe it before his father died of cancer when Tony was just 13. These days, the pupil has become the teacher.
Like being a dad today, what a risk that we take. Dad just looked at me and said, look, this is serious, right? That's what you want to do? I said, yes, that's what I want to make my living of. And then he said, well, then let's do this. If you really want this, you're not going to be able to go out. You're going to have to go to sleep early. You're going to have to do well in school.
If your dad didn't lay out the goals and then support you when you're less than 10 years old, maybe none of this happens.
No, for sure not.
TK has won the 2013 500.
On the track, winning Indy remains the #1 achievement. And there are perks that he enjoys and shares.
Enjoying the pace car ride?
If I were you, I would drive this all the time.
Oh, and I actually do.
Riding around Key Biscayne, Florida, and the $23 million homes that are built here.
Do you always wave to the police down there?
They all know me. He was chasing somebody though. He has his lights on, but that doesn't mean I take advantage of.
No,
I just, I don't look at this as an island. We're driving at 20 miles an hour. But
yeah, in a Corvette that opens up to 180 if you want it. So.
The most remarkable news from the drive is that despite the South Florida view, Kanaan wants to settle down back in Indy one day.
I think Indianapolis would welcome another former 500 champion.
Yeah, I mean, that place, I love Indy, Dave. It always treats me nice, and, I don't think it's a coincidence that I married a girl from there. Plus, I'm going to get a job in the...
No, you're not.
Channel 6. Actually, I'll be the delivery boy.
You'll run out and get dry cleaning,
whatever
coffee.
You need. The fastest one in town. Drive you to the games, drop you off at the Pacer game, pick you up to get you home.
Nobody brings back coffee quicker than Tony Kanaan.
Nope.
It'll be great.
Meanwhile, back at the house, of course, none of these plans happen without Deco and Leo's approval.
Do you like it?
Yes.
He's a good big brother.
You gotta teach him all the good stuff and the bad ones too.
Life will get back up to speed soon enough, but the real drive is to be as good off the track as he's been on.
Look at him smiling. You remember how cool some of the things are and how uncool some other things are that when you don't get enough sleep and stuff, but all in all, I think it's still the best experience in the world.
That's the kind of work that is turning heads as people drive by.
Yeah, our news crew was also intrigued by the sign holder that was promoting a car wash for $5. Rafael Sanchez reports on the sign of the times.
By far the hardest worker we have. The people love her. She never takes breaks, never calls off.
The sign holder's rotating routine revolves around getting your attention.
And there's a lady right there. Did you see that lady with that brown hair?
Yeah.
Did you?
Co-workers will tell you she's a model employee with only 1 week on the job.
So she has made a big difference in the company. She's probably up for a raise. My manager likes her because she don't take breaks or complain like we do. And no bay 2. Start bay 2.
The Rama Car Wash and Lube
Start bay 2.
is seeking an edge in a competitive marketplace. And their new team member appears to be good for business.
$5 car wash. Good deal.
And workplace morale.
I love her. Love her. I proposed to her 2 days ago and she turned me down.
There's a reason for the rejection. Nothing personal. After all, she's a robot.
Oh my God, I'm shocked. I really thought it was a real person. She looked real, didn't she?
A mechanical marvel bought online and brought to Indy, seeking vehicles in need of suds and shine.
I thought it was a real person.
Oh, she isn't, is she? Oh, she looked real. My husband thought she was real. He liked to jump out the car. He's 85 years old, so I'm not worried about that.
Maintaining her public appearance isn't always easy. Fixing her shades and hair are a must during the occasional malfunction.
Every now and then the sign will hit her chin and she just loses her head. UPS guy thought there was a hot chick out there.
So the only employee allowed to show a pierced navel and unlikely to bolt to the competition will continue to stand at her post. There are plenty of signs she's here to stay.
I definitely will come back just because of her. Put in her sign.
Through great. All of us, too. The mannequins were spotted at a trade show in Las Vegas and have proven to be lucky for indie business.
Hey, welcome back. It's a simple scenario for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He loves his family, loves racing, loves the fact he won the Indy 500 last year, but he's always had a fondness for deep-sea fishing. In fact, as we found out at his home in South Florida, you might say it's his real love. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a destination for some 10 million tourists a year. Home to some of the most popular beaches and fishing spots in the Atlantic, and also home to the Hunter-Rays. Ryan, Ryden, Becky, and introducing Roxanne Hunter-Reay, born last March with his middle name, Indy. In fact, Indy has a strong theme in the home.
So, Ryan, there's a couple of new additions to the house now, is that right? Roxanne?
Yeah.
And something called a baby Borg over in the corner, right?
You know, we're just filling this house up with babies right now with this one. Who's that? Yeah, it's Dad. There's other trophies in here that are obviously bigger and shinier, but this thing just stands out after seeing it for so long. It's pretty cool to have one here at home. I actually made a shelf.
Winner and champion are used to describe Ryan's racing career, but for recreation?
Very selfish question for you. This is great and everything. Can we go fishing?
Let's go fishing.
All aboard Inside Line, 36-foot yellowfin. Powered by Honda's Triple 250. Of course, horsepower is a common theme. He needed every ounce last May.
Almost got into the grass to make the pass. Ryan Hunter-Reay with a bonsai move in the entrance to 3.
Staying in front of Helio Castroneves to win his first 500.
And it is Ryan Hunter-Reay that is going to lead Helio Castroneves across the line.
The defining moment in an already successful career.
Far exceeded my expectations. I mean, you never know what to expect when you win the Indy 500, but it's just come with so much. I mean, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Is it really?
Yeah, absolutely.
After you won, all the photos, everything's happening quickly. And to see Ryden in the fire suit, I mean, with all due respect, Ryden might have stolen the show.
Oh, no, he did, absolutely. I mean, in a DHL fire suit like that, an exact copy of mine, and definitely one of the highlights of the win for me was seeing that kid in a DHL yellow fire suit.
So you've got one for Ryden. We need something else now for
the next little guy. Yeah.
You like how that works?
Yeah, we need another one for sure.
The need now, fish. Our first stop, trolling just a few miles offshore.
You can see on the surface when you see slicks like this, it's current changes,
right?
And that'll draw bait fish into those areas, and that's how you target mahi and wahoo and other fish like that. Yeah, you're not very good luck though.
But there's a reason they call it fishing
and not catching.
Thank you.
We're doing the fishing part. We've got that down. Catching, I don't know.
Our luck changes a few miles south when we come across this blue plastic barrel.
Ooh. That's like, oh, see all the fish down there?
Oh, wow, look at that.
Oh, boy. Oh, that thing is covered up. That is covered up in fish.
And an immediate payoff as we ride by.
Have to go back to that barrel. Have to go back to that barrel. We can't lose that thing. The heck is that? Oh, that's nothing. Little grunt. We got to go back over there.
So it's back to the barrel if we can find it again.
Yeah.
One man's trash truly becoming another man's treasure.
We have a floater. This is gold out here when you're searching for mahi and fish like that. When you come across debris in the water, this is unbelievable to find a drum like this. Unfortunately, it looks like there's all small fish under it, but we're gonna see maybe a triple tail over there. Look at that. Triple tail all over it. See the dark brown fish right by it? Yeah, that's them.
And the rods and reels are off and running.
Get it. Is that a triple tail? No. It's another one of these little feisties. Woo!
We're catching those one after another. I gotta get something.
There you go. Not the fish we want.
There's better stuff moving around down there, namely mahi.
Got him.
A fish with fight.
That's how you do it. That's tonight's dinner for sure.
Well done.
Thanks, man.
Very nice. But Hunter Ray's not done. He's also experienced in spearfishing, going after the triple tail in the Atlantic. But at this point, we'll settle for another mahi.
Got him. Look at him go. Can you open this latch? Yeah.
Well,
whew. You available to go fishing next week, too?
All in a day's work. With adrenaline not unlike his real job, wrestling 1,600-pound, 650-horsepower Indy cars, complete with ups and downs, twists and turns, and he'd have it no other way.
Let's get you 2 mahi on a little outing like this. You're doing pretty well.
Oh, that's great. Afternoon catching 2 mahi. Some of the best eating fish out there. Yeah, absolutely. That was great. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah. Now we got to do it again.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and win the Indy 500.
And win, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
There's that.
Yeah, that's right.
Tonight, our Call 6 Investigates unit is digging deeper into an I-69 crash that left 2 construction workers dead.
That crash happened last May, but the driver, Jordan Stafford, has yet to face any criminal charges. Call 6 investigator Kara Kenny also uncovered Stafford was caught driving again despite a suspended license.
That's right. Kenneth Dewerson Jr. and Cody Demos were both killed May 9th of last year while they were working on Interstate 69. The driver, Jordan Stafford, was ticketed and fined in the deadly crash. Not only has he not paid those fines, police caught Stafford driving again.
That's Cody. It's like first grade.
For Chana and Dennis Demos,
we have pictures of him all over the house.
Going through photo albums helps them deal with losing their son, Cody.
And it's Cody and his brother. And that's Cody with his sister and his brother.
He was killed May 9th of last year at the age of 24 while doing construction work along Interstate 69.
Nothing's happened. And it's like we get up every day and think, is this going to be the day we get a call?
But no call has come. Indiana State Police continue to investigate the I-69 crash, and the Marion County prosecutor has yet to file criminal charges against the driver, Jordan Stafford, seen here in an old mugshot.
It's upsetting. You know, all you can do is pray that justice will be served.
Records show police ticketed Stafford after the crash. He was fined $687, but we uncovered he has not paid a cent of that and also failed to show up for a driver education course.
It's sickening. It makes us angry.
Stafford's license was suspended July 23, 2014. Just 3 months after the crash that killed Cody, Jordan Stafford was pulled over and ticketed again, this time for speeding in Johnson County, 74 and a 55, and driving on a suspended license. Stafford was fined $208 and has yet to pay that either, and has also failed to show up in court.
On May 9th, our lives changed forever. Hearing that, it makes me feel like May 9th didn't change his life at all.
We tracked down Stafford to get his side of the story.
Well, why were you driving on a suspended license after the crash that killed 2 people?
I actually never got any tickets written and sent to my house. I went to the hospital and they never sent them here.
The records show you haven't paid any of your fines.
No.
Why not?
because that's me admitting guilt to killing 2 people. That's me saying, yeah, I killed them on purpose. That's me saying, yeah, go ahead and take me to prison for manslaughter, when no, I did not kill those people on purpose.
Stafford says he has not driven since he was last cited in August 2014 and has an attorney fighting the tickets.
All those tickets will get dropped. Everything will get dropped.
Signs posted in construction zones all over Indiana warn a $1,000 fine for speeding, 8 years maximum for reckless driving. But we learned those max penalties are rarely issued, if ever. In fact, many of the drivers who've killed construction workers never served prison time. Tanash Mandazza was convicted of reckless homicide and criminal recklessness in the 2006 death of construction worker Chris Hutt. She got a few years probation. And no criminal charges were ever filed in the 2012 Putnam County death of INDOT worker Stephen Overbay. The prosecutor told me warnings may not have been adequately posted the day of the crash. INDOT points out legal penalties are just one of the consequences if you hit a construction worker.
The real consequence is permanent. You could end your life, you could end the life of a loved one, or end the life of someone else's loved one. You can't take that back.
They want drivers to slow down.
Ultimately, it comes down to it's the right thing to do.
Chana and Dennis Demos have their doubts about the signs and whether the legal system is actually penalizing drivers to the fullest.
The signs are there for a reason. They're supposed to mean something.
The Demoses will continue to wait for a phone call.
I want justice for my son. I know that no matter what happens, at the end of the day, it's not going to bring him back to us. But I just feel like there has to be some kind of answers. I mean, you have to be accountable for your actions.
Welcome back to this Trackside 6 special. You know, great sporting events have great trophies, but the really great trophies honor the past and present. Well, the Borg Warner Trophy does that and more. And over the last 25 years, the artist who's been solely responsible has been Will Behrens, the man behind the faces. The echoes of Indy wins are barely over here before work begins to immortalize the drivers here. Welcome to Tryon, North Carolina, quaint town in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains and home to Will Behrens, world-renowned sculptor who knew he would work with his hands as he grew up in Milwaukee.
I had tree houses and playhouses. I had a number of those that I built. So I've always had a fondness for building things.
I was going to say, so you're always constructing something, putting something, your hands, working with your hands, whatnot, and
I guess I should have been a contractor. Yeah.
I think you're doing okay right now. I think you're doing okay.
With classical music playing in the background and his dog Maddie keeping watch, the transformation begins, turning Tony Kanaan's likeness from the year before into Ryan Hunter-Reay's. Behrens lines up a variety of headshots, taken at all different angles. And the clay, it's the same he's used for years. The process, a slice above the rest for the folks at Borg Warner.
In 1989, for the 1989 winter, they had an idea that they would find a prominent American sculptor to do it every year. In 90, they called me up. That was the year I did Ari Lyondike. And then I guess, you know, I suppose they liked what I did. So
I was going to say, you were too good then, so there you go. We're going to keep Will Behrens around, just have him do it, right?
I guess so, yeah, I guess so.
But shaping a clay likeness is only the beginning. Dozens of examples of his past projects show the process. The clay becomes a mold for a plaster likeness, which becomes a mold for a wax likeness, which is shipped off to the Sterling caster and then returned for Will to fine-tune. And there's been changes over the years.
This came from, it's pretty heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the first year, and again, we didn't have our technique really down, and so we should have cast it thinner.
The Indy 500 is all about innovation. Heck, we've got innovation right here. You know?
Yeah, I haven't evolved as quickly as the cars have, but you know, it's a.
Back at the mold, Behrens begins to shape the eyes and jawline.
And point do you look at it and say, this is it?
Yeah. When I start having a conversation with it, then I know it's...
Right, you're talking, you're having a conversation with it.
Yeah, that's right. It's a oil and wax.
There's actually plenty of talk about Will Behrens. His portfolio includes a variety of statues and busts commissioned by the government and statues for baseball, including a massive Tony Gwynn statue at San Diego's Petco Park and 4 works at San Francisco's AT&T Park, with the highlight the very popular statue of Willie Mays, 10 feet high, weighing in at 2,000 pounds.
It's a good ballpark.
In his try-on office, Maddie gets to hang out with a few autographs as a result of Will's hard work and photos at every turn.
When you think about it, how many people have taken their picture with this? How many people have taken pictures of the Borg Warner Trophy?
I wish I had a concession on all the people that...
If you had a nickel for every picture...
Hunter Ray is coming into picture as well. His likeness for the trophy getting closer by the minute.
This is one of the unique pieces in certainly American sports culture that's going to be around forever. And to have your imprint on that, I mean, how special is that?
Well, that's very special. And I'm a race fan, so having done 25 images on that is a real, I'm very proud and pleased about that. I really am.
Shaping the cheeks, chin, and the hair.
I enjoy doing the hair because it kind of like is very expressive, and it almost denotes speed,
The concentration level arguably matches that of driving at speed at Indy, although this project will take as long as needed.
Is it emotional at all for you?
It's getting that way. Passing the 25-year mark, I'm kind of realizing, hey, there is a mark. And every year when the base comes here for me to attach the new winner, I kind of revisit my old friends and I get out the polishing cloth and I, polish them off and just have a moment with them,
And finally, after hours of work and even more classical music, the moment arrives at his workspace. The first look at the finished product, complete with his signature WV under the left side of the chin. And Ryan Hunter Ray now has a face to fill his space among Indy legends.
Where would you rate putting together this annual project?
Virtually all of my pieces are one of a kind.
Right.
And this is a set, and as the set includes more pieces, it becomes more and more of something I'm prouder of. I mean, it becomes a body of work in that one place.
Something you look forward to every year?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The official unveiling at the Speedway is an annual event, and the likeness enjoyed for decades to come. But it all begins here, as Behrens hopes it will for years to come.
In many ways, you're kind of the bearer of the torch.
I think about how long I'll do them, and I'll do them as long as these hands are capable, and they're willing. Borg Warner is. So, I want to hold that torch as long as I can.
I think you're fine. I think you're doing good. If the drivers like it, then you're not going anywhere.
Did you hear from somebody? Am I okay?
Raphael.
Todd and Erica, good evening. The Call 6 investigators were able to shut down that business after we received that tip, as you mentioned, that car dealership on the city's south side, after a young lady showed us what was in the trunk of her vehicle. In the trunk of your vehicle, where it's okay to have that one spare tire, where it's okay to have maybe one set of jumper cables, but where it's not okay to have an extra odometer. Were you rolling back the odometers?
No.
Were you cheating customers?
I don't want to talk to you.
I know you don't want to talk to me, but I need to talk to you as to why you were cheating people. Were you cheating customers?
I understand all English, so...
Yo hablo español. Ricardo Gaitan tells investigators he rolled back the odometers on at least 10 vehicles. Low mileage meant that H&G Auto Sales could sell them at a much higher price.
I don't know how long he's been doing this, but I don't want anybody else to feel as horrible as I do.
Hannah Hurt works with seniors and bought a 2004 Acura to get to work. She thought it had 109,000 miles. Hannah reached out to Call 6 Investigates when she found a second odometer in her trunk.
What is this?
This is the original Acura odometer that has been replaced from this car.
We confirmed The original odometer removed from her Acura shows the accurate mileage of her vehicle. It's not 109,000 miles, but well above 222,000 miles, the figure the dealership did not want Hannah to see.
That was a real shocker.
Our findings led to this. The Regional Auto Theft Task Force, involving the State Police Auto Theft Section and Metro Police, raiding the Southside dealership. An initial review of the dealership's paperwork, along with interviews, uncovered the possibility of 20 vehicles sold with rolled back odometers. These 2 vehicles towed away because of questionable mileage. And take a look at this. These 2 odometers apparently ready for installation on 2 F-150 trucks, similar to what the dealership is accused of doing to the Hurt family Acura.
All the people that's working hard, he just sitting back getting fat like a fat cat.
Now at 5, 53 counts, and a jury finds Mark Ray Leonard guilty on all counts in the deadly Richmond Hill explosion. Live team coverage from South Bend and the Richmond Hill neighborhood. Storm cleanup, thousands still without power after a second round of powerful winds, rain, thunder, and lightning. We're tracking the threat of more tonight. Paper Towns. Indianapolis rolls out the red carpet for a Hollywood-style movie event. Cast members right here. We've got your front row ticket to the stars.
Now, breaking news from RTV6.
By the conviction today of Mark Leonard and the guilty plea of Monserrati Shirley, we have completed 2 significant steps in achieving justice that we pledged for the residents of Richmond Hill.
Prosecutor Terry Curry after a swift verdict in the trial of the mastermind of the deadly Richmond Hill explosion. Mark Ray Leonard guilty on all 53 counts, including murder and arson.
Now that breaking news, the jury needing just over 3 hours for over 2 days to find Mark Leonard guilty of killing Jennifer and Dion Longworth. The decision announced shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon. You watched it live right here on RTV6 and the RTV6 app. We have live team coverage for you. Rafael Sanchez and Derek Thomas in South Bend and Chris Profit in the Richmond Hill neighborhood. We begin tonight with Rafael, who has covered this story from the night Richmond Hill was in flames. Rafael?
And that was an unforgettable night, and today an unforgettable day. Relief is the word from the victims' families and the homeowners in Richmond Hill after that jury convicted Mark Ray Leonard on all 53 criminal counts. No one expected that this verdict would come so soon, so fast against Leonard. But the jury sending a clear message that they believed that Mark Ray Leonard murdered Dion and Jennifer Longworth and was responsible for the $4 million in damage to the homes there on the city's south side in the Richmond Hill subdivision. The jury finding him guilty on all 53 counts. People say the verdict brings them peace of mind.
It was just a horrible night, and I think everyone is stronger now that we've gotten to the other side, and we'll be fine. It's just, I'll never forget it.
A lot of people will never forget that day, November the 10th, 2012, at 11:11 p.m. The jury did not speak to the media today, but their actions spoke volumes in the courtroom. Let me show you what we were able to see today. The jury was being escorted out of the building. In fact, they were walked out through a passageway in the basement area where the courtroom is. They were escorted by sheriff's deputies. They did not speak to the media at all as they left the courthouse today. 16 people who served their community for 5 weeks here in South Bend. Also, just a few moments ago, I got the actual count. The jury went into deliberations at 9:43. They were done by 12:30. You add today's deliberations with yesterday's, and the time spent on this case was just slightly longer than this year's running of the Indianapolis 500. On this case, the jury spent 3.4 hours. The Indy 500 was over in about 3 hours. We're live in South Bend. Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
All right, we'll look for you later in this newscast. Thank you, Rafael.
It took some time for the judge to read all those verdicts, but it took little time for the family of the victims to react. RTV6's Derek Thomas spoke with the fathers of Jennifer and Dion Longworth, and he joins us live with more on that story. Derek.
Don Buxton told me that when he heard the guilty verdicts, he thought to himself, this one's for Jenny. This
34-year-old Dion Longworth and his 36-year-old wife Jennifer were in the courtroom in spirit. Jennifer's father reacted when the verdict was read.
When I heard the first 2 counts and the judge read guilty, I thought, okay, I'm satisfied, whatever else happens. I think our children have received some justice. I'm not sure how you define that anymore in today's world, but whatever it is, they've received it, and that's all we can get.
For Dion's father, it's too early to find peace and much too early for forgiveness. He knows Mark Leonard will be put away for a long time, but he is not prepared to celebrate.
I'm sad. It's sentencing somebody to prison or anything is not anything to be happy about to me. Especially when what I would really like is to give Dion and Jennifer hugs, and that's not going to happen. So.
Don Buxton told me that he's going to go home, hug his wife, his 2 kids, and his grandkids. And he says they're not going to have a party, but they're going to shed maybe a tear or 2. Live in South Bend, Derek Thomas, RTV6.
2 people dead. More than 120 houses were damaged the night of the Richmond Hill explosion. Today's guilty verdicts come as a relief after so many months have gone by. RTV6's Chris Prophet is live in the Richmond Hill subdivision with reaction to today's events. Chris.
And Erica, it is a relief for all of the people who live in here. Remember that there were dozens of people injured and there were a lot of homes that were damaged. Some people just simply left. This is the house that exploded behind me, and Glenn Olvey lived right next door. He was home along with his now ex-wife and daughter. They no longer live here, and the house they called home for 7 years is gone. When he learned that his former neighbor Mark Leonard was found guilty on all 53 counts, he said that he had to come back to his former neighborhood.
I had to be here. I had to come back to where I was home for 6, 7 years. And when the verdict came in, it was just a flashback of that night.
And we talked to other neighbors today who say that these guilty verdicts are helping to really start the healing process for a lot of people in the Richmond Hill subdivision, and they know that the legal process is not over. Reporting live on the South Side, Chris Prophet, RTV6.
Let's look back now at some important dates that brought us to today. The explosion happened in the late night hours of November 10th, 2012. Just over a month later, Mark Leonard, his brother Bob, and Montserrat Shirley were arrested and charged. In January 2014, a 4th suspect, Gary Thompson, was arrested. A 5th suspect, Glenn Holtz, was arrested in April of that year. In January of this year, Montserrat Shirley enters a guilty plea and agrees to testify against her former boyfriend. Opening statements began on June 8th, and today the jury found Mark Ray Leonard guilty of all 53 counts. And coming up at 5:30, former Marion County Prosecutor Carl Brizzi joins me to talk about the speed of the verdict and what may have happened in the jury room.
A lot more ahead, but our other big story, the weather on this Storm Team 6 action day. Flooding, trees down, thousands without power, and we might not be done yet. There is the threat of more rain this evening. Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is here to let us know when the threat moves in. Kevin.
I'll take you to the latest downpours here in just 1 second. You can see how the nature of the sky has changed from the standpoint we had all that sunshine earlier. Then you see the fair weather cumulus build, and now into a couple of thunderstorms. Thunderstorm watch has been canceled for southeast Indiana, no longer in effect. That doesn't mean there isn't the isolated severe storm threat. Here's some rain cutting through Zionsville, umbrella up. That will move toward northern portions of Marion County. We've already had some showers around Eagle Creek. To the east we go, Greenfield to Knightstown. Notice how quickly these are moving. It will be enough to stop what you're doing outside, but then you can get right back out there because it won't last very long. Just show you the big picture. The better chance for any stronger storms will be south and southeastern portions of the state. And you see the nature of these starting to pop up more and more as we go through the early evening hours. Chance for any severe storms, again, Bloomington over to Greensburg toward the Ohio River. Damaging wind and large hail would be the main threats. I have a shocking forecast for several reasons, but the main dry, but for how many days? That's coming up.
All right, Kevin, we like that. New information about that storm last night. The Weather Service now confirming it produced 2 tornadoes, and we have photos of one of them. The National Weather Service said a brief EF0 tornado touched down last night 18 miles west of Lafayette. It had speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. It touched down briefly in a cornfield. And the National Weather Service just confirmed a second tornado in Putnam County near Greencastle, an EF1 with winds up to 90 miles an hour that Kevin told us about a little bit ago.
Tens of thousands of Hoosiers still without power tonight. Crews have been working around the clock nonstop to restore power to those homes. But IPL said today it still may take until the end of the week to complete repairs. Take a look at these numbers now. Right now, there are more than 28,000 Indianapolis Power and Light customers without power. That's down by less than 1,000 customers since noon today. Also, Duke Energy is reporting more than 9,000 outages tonight. RTV6's Ebony Monet is live on the city's west side, one of the hardest hit areas. Ebony?
Erica, people in this neighborhood are having a very tough time. They tell me their power went out yesterday morning right around 11:40, and they're doing everything they can to stay cool. Take a look at this tent here behind me. The family says that they pitched this tent because it's just too hot inside. And in addition to the heat and humidity, several people on this block actually have medical concerns, and so it's a big problem here, and they're doing everything they can to stay cool. In fact, one woman told me that every few minutes she's dousing towels with cold water and putting it on her body, trying to keep her body heat down. The same woman also showed us her refrigerator where she's had to throw out a lot of her food that was spoiling, and on top of that, she and her roommate have medical issues.
I can't take the heat, and if I get too hot, I pass out. So I've been doing everything I can to try to stay cool. I get wet rags and everything and put around my neck and towels and everything trying to keep cool.
While everyone on the west side of the street is without power, folks on the east side, they still have power. As you can see here, the woman across the street, she's sharing power with her mother, who's across the street, who she's very concerned about at this time because she suffered from 2 strokes, and she says she has reason to be concerned. Another one of her elderly neighbors was raced to the ER last night, and still, even with 300 workers, more than 300 workers working to restore power, including mutual aid from as far away as Nashville, Tennessee, IPL estimates some people can be without power until the end of the week, and that's not the information that people here wanted to hear. Reporting live on the west side, Ebony Monet, RTV6.
That is certainly not good news for a lot of them, Ebony. Thank you. A developing story tonight. A 37-year-old Brown County man swept away in floodwaters overnight was found dead just a short while ago. Travis Watkins was swept away around midnight. His body found just this afternoon. RTV6 reporter Mike Pelton is in Brown County with the new details.
37-year-old Travis Watkins was found dead about 90 minutes ago. This is near Hoover Road and State Road 46. His body was found about 3/4 of a mile away from where he lived. Now, family members tell us Travis Watkins went to check on his grandmother around midnight as nearby Gnawbone Creek was overflowing. The small bridge was damaged, so he tried to cross over when the water became too much to handle. Today, the DNR, Brown County Sheriff's Department, and Nashville Fire and Police waded through the knee-deep water trying to find him. They did this afternoon. And earlier, we spoke to his sister, who says he is a great guy.
He's amazing. He's gorgeous. He's lovable. He's got a huge heart.
The best thing we can do is give that closure to the family. You know, we're out here doing our job and doing what we do, but it's in the end, it's all about giving that family closure. We want to find that loved one so that they can start the healing process.
And the DNR says the investigation is ongoing as the coroner will determine the specific cause of death. Now, they say if you encounter a similar situation, do not cross over rushing water. Instead, call law enforcement, who should be able to help. In Brown County tonight, Mike Pelton, RTV6.
Also in Brown County, homes and businesses have been wiped out in the wake of that overnight heavy rain. RTV6's Jason Fechner went to Nashville, where some families tonight are reliving a nightmare.
For many here in Brown County, they didn't wake up to the sound of their alarms Tuesday morning, but rather phone calls from friends and family members desperately pleading for help. A heartbreaking sight along Highway 46 in and around Nashville, Indiana Tuesday. Homes here destroyed, businesses flooded. In one case, the water flooded over Salt Creek Road, essentially stranding those who live just to the north of here. After a similar flood hit here back in 2008, some are reliving that pain with no idea what's next.
You know, it's rough. You know, it's what my mom and dad they lived for. It's what their job was, and now it's just Mother Nature. You know what? You know, you can't say nothing about it. But it's crazy.
A small silver lining to all this, the water has begun to recede Tuesday afternoon, down now a couple of feet, but as you can see, the damage here is already done. In Brown County, Jason Fechner, RTV6.
Floodwaters are causing problems for drivers along with home and business owners, especially south of Indianapolis. RTV6's Julie Pursley traveled to Johnson, Bartholomew, and Jackson counties to show us the widespread flooding there.
Floodwaters were such a problem earlier, Indiana State Police had to issue a travel advisory along Interstate 65 in southern Indiana. We went up in Skycam 6 to give you a better look at the widespread damage. Daylight revealed what the pounding storms and torrential downpours overnight left behind. There were several areas in Johnson County and to the south that are waterlogged in Indiana. In Franklin, the Legends look more like lakefront property than a golf course. Several of the greens turned into islands, and you could hardly see some of the fairways. In Bartholomew County, homeowners are struggling. This neighborhood just east of I-65 and north of US 31 has water running through it. Homes are surrounded, streets are covered, and cars and trucks are stuck in driveways. One person found it was easier to get around this morning by kayak. Drivers like this one near County Road 800 North and 100 West who tried to cross the high water found themselves stranded. In Jackson County, floodwaters even caused problems on I-65. At one point, water was rushing over the interstate just south of the Seymour exit. Traffic was backed up for miles. People who tried to take an alternate route on US 31 ran into the same problems. It too was waterlogged. Indiana State Police have since lifted that travel advisory in Jackson County, but first responders are reminding you if you approach a flooded roadway, turn around, don't drown. Julie Pursley, RTV6.
And if you've been affected by this week's storms and power outages and you need some help, the Red Cross is inviting you to come to one of their emergency shelters. You're invited to come for snacks, meals, or even an overnight stay at their Indianapolis headquarters on East 10th Street. You're also welcome to charge any electronics or medical devices there. Other shelters located around the state are in Jay, Brown, Wells, and Jefferson counties.
Some positive news to bring you tonight on where the city's violent crime rate is trending, and it is down. Numbers released today by the Department of Public Safety tell us that the number of non-fatal shootings this year has declined. So far this year, Indianapolis has recorded 255 shootings compared to 267 non-fatal shootings for the same period last year. And the numbers are even more encouraging on the homicide rate. We've had 58 murders this year compared to 74 murders for the same time period last year.
We have to really look at these systemic issues that's leading to crime. When you look at the mental health issues, the poverty issues, those individuals in hunger, we're dealing with all those issues as well because we're equally committed to long-term success.
And the public safety director also says that violent crime in the 6 focus areas has declined slightly. Those 6 focus areas have been identified as the city's highest crime neighborhoods. Also from police headquarters tonight, the spirited debate over tattoos.
For now, the department and the Fraternal Order of Police both agree that showing off one's tattoo probably isn't a good idea. At the heart of the debate is how they're kept hidden. RTV6's Jack Reinhardt joins us live from our studio on Monument Circle with details on this. Jack?
Well, Todd, police departments all across the country and every branch of the military is having to deal with the issue of tattoos. And it's very much a topic of discussion within the IMPD, where appearance and professionalism matter. At Big Time Tattoos and Piercings, business is booming. No longer just a fad, the tattoo has become socially acceptable, a way to express one's identity through body art. But many of Bill Bryant Dixon's customers know they can only express themselves so far, particularly when it comes to the workplace.
It's kind of up to us as an artist to strategically place it, or going to give them the advice ahead of time that it may affect what they do for a living.
Increasingly, men and women joining the police department have tattoos, so many that it's become an issue within the rank and file, particularly those required by department policy to cover them up with long-sleeve shirts. Add to that body armor and the heat and humidity of summer, covering tattoos becomes problematic.
Frankly, we're going to be seeing it this weekend during the summer celebration, where our officers are out standing on pavement for many hours in a row. Now they're adding to that these long sleeve shirts with the body armor and that higher core temperature. It becomes a safety factor, a safety concern at least.
The department is looking at adopting what's called the tattoo sleeve, a lightweight, breathable fabric that comes in multiple colors and skin tones. It could afford the brass and the rank and file a compromise without sacrificing professionalism and command presence.
A lot of times people think of the use of force as just necessarily a taser or a handgun or a baton, but actually your first line of use of force is actually officer appearance. So when you step up to that scene or when you arrive at that scene, how professional you look can bring down or de-escalate a situation.
Now, it's very possible, even likely, that the Chief's office and the Fraternal Order of Police could reach a compromise solution as early as next week. And both sides definitely want a solution, one that would give officers the comfort they need and the coverage that the police department demands. Reporting live downtown, Jack Reinhardt, RTV6.
And thank you, Jack. At home, you don't need to move. Just stay right there and watch. These clouds will come right at you. I love tower cam views like this when the clouds are moving basically from west to east, or in this case northwest to southeast, and we see some showers building at times as well. These are spotty. They'll be for the next few hours and then out of here, and we'll get at least a 2-day break from any downpours. That's the good news. Not out of the woods as far as any severe weather threat. There's a slight risk. Bloomington on over to Columbus and Greensburg southeast. And of course, just drawing a line like that is our imaginary line. Where the atmosphere draws the line might be a different story, but strong winds and large hail, the main threats, and I think that will be very isolated. We've had some showers move through Marion County. One just zips through Zionsville. See how quickly they're moving? But it leapfrogs and then builds the next. It just went through Beech Grove and now headed toward Fairland along I-74. We just follow these streaking areas of showers, not really able to sustain themselves much, but it changes a bit as you get to the warmer, more humid environment. Just near Spencer down to Beech Creek and Bloomington, this will drift south and east, come close to Lake Monroe. Other showers of more strength, heavy downpours certainly headed towards Seymour. Between Owen and Seymour will cross I-65. There's the broader view. The temperatures are in the low 90s once you get close to the Ohio River, and the humidity is high for all of us. Temporarily. Next 24 hours, we'll see a difference. Any spotty, isolated showers this evening will fade away. By the time we get to 11 o'clock tonight, we'll be in the clear, so to speak. Next 12 hours, the storm threat is here for the next few hours. Dry for the morning drive, and we'll have a nice northwest breeze. We have that already. Northwest at almost 20. 86 current temperature. Sun sets at 9:13. Look at the warmth. 92 in Louisville, 93 that in Evansville, while it's 72 with the wind coming off of the lake in Gary. For us, the absence of color over Indiana means we're not expecting storms, no severe risk during the day tomorrow as we get a little drier air mass and enjoy a couple of dry days in central Indiana. Here's a 7-day planner, and plan on 2 dry days coming up Wednesday and Thursday, lower humidity, but the more comfortable it feels the next 48 hours, the more uncomfortable it will feel as you get toward the weekend. Right around 90, it's going to feel more like New Orleans than Indianapolis. A real tropical feel as the humidity level goes way up here. Yeah, way up there.
But it'll be a party if it's like New Orleans.
There you go.
Thank you, Kevin. A ride that left nearly a dozen people in midair.
And now the Indianapolis Zoo says it's uncovered why the Skyline stopped in mid-ride. That answer and when it might reopen after the break. The Indianapolis Zoo's Skyline is almost back in business.
Yeah, zoo representatives say the ride that left nearly a dozen passengers stopped in midair last month could reopen within the month. Since that rescue, the ride has undergone several evaluations by engineers in Wisconsin and Switzerland. Their investigation reveals that an oversensitive breaker in the motor tripped, causing the ride to stop.
Safety is our primary concern in everything we do. So we will test and continue to test. Our operations staff and our facility staff goes through extensive training on a continual basis to make sure that everything is 100% safe as far as we can before we will reopen this ride.
Zoo representatives tell us the issue's been repaired, and they're also working to install two-way radios in each of the ride's gondolas, allowing guests to communicate with operators.